how do you feel about what's going on with Israel and Hamas and the way we're handling it today?
Well, yeah,
I know for you, you're a son of a, I believe, Jewish immigrant from Poland, if I'm not mistaken.
Poland, Russia, yeah, all four of my grandparents came from Eastern Europe to the United States around 1900, around that time frame. So, yeah, so I'm a second generation American, but my family is Jewish, and yeah, I have a lot of sympathy, not just because I'm Jewish, for what's happening in Israel. I think Israel is in a very bad position, and I think Hamas put them in that position. And I think it is not an accident. Hamas, Israel was getting ready to do a deal with Saudi Arabia, a peace deal. And I think they sabotaged that deal with this attack, because this attack, and they made it so brutal. And I don't know if you've even seen, what was done to families and children, right? They made it so brutal that Israel had no choice but to have an all-out response to this brutal attack that they knew would then, the media could spin that and turn Israel into the villains, and somehow they're, the Hamas or the Palestinians are the good guys, and Israel now has been made to be the bad guy, first of all, to blow up that whole deal they had with Saudi Arabia. But it's unfortunate that you have so many people now that think that Israel, modern Israel, is worse than Nazi Germany. It's the nonsense that is out there, in the media, vilifying the Israelis, are there some Palestinians who are, innocent, good people? Sure, there's some of them, but there's a lot of them that would kill any Israeli they had a chance to kill. I mean, that's what they believe. I mean, that we're heathens or blasphemers. I don't know. I mean, they don't like Jews. I don't think they don't like Christians very much either, too. But I think Jews are higher up on the pecking order of people that they just like to wipe out. It's funny too. I think they also don't have a lot of tolerance for homosexuals. So they're a very intolerant group.
You talking about Palestinian?
Yes. Yeah.
How is that impacting the economy? Like historically, when you think about war, when it comes down to some people saying, well, there's a lot of people that want war to continue because it helps with certain military-industrial complex. You being somebody that's run for office before, you sound like you study history, what's happened with America. Obviously, you've been in the financial industry for a while. How do you look at war? Is it gamified in a way to make money on the back end?
Yeah. I mean, look, free people would never go to war with one another, right? Governments go to war. And they have alternative motives. I mean, and one of them, obviously, is there is a military-industrial complex. War is a very profitable business if you make weapons. And these companies donate a lot of money to politicians to perpetuate a war so they can keep selling their overpriced weapons. And sometimes they'll sell weapons to both sides. I mean, they don't care, right? I mean, they'll arm everybody. But they make a lot of money. This is part of the problem with the system that we have now with this big government that can do all this stuff. But sometimes tyrants, will have wars because they don't really give a damn. I mean, they're just trying to expand their empire or get more territory. But free people don't war with each other. They trade with each other. They engage each other. Wars are destructive. There are no winners, right? There's just losers. It's just who loses the least wins the war. But, the way Keynesians look at economics, it's a stimulus. All this war spending is going to help the economy. There are a lot of people who think that we got out of the Great Depression because of all the money we spent to fight World War II. No, we didn't get out of the Depression until World War II ended. It was the end of all that military spending that caused the economic boom. During the war, it was very austere. I mean, there was a shortage of everything. I mean, people, didn't have anything, and women worked. They actually worked during the 40s because their husbands were out fighting the war. And they were just, all of our resources were diverted to wartime production. So there was very little left for consumer goods. But it's destructive. I mean, if you blow something up, I mean, that's a bad thing. I mean, people say, we have a natural disaster. We just had, a flood or an earthquake, and these buildings got destroyed, and so that's good for the economy because we get to rebuild it. No, it's bad for the economy because we have to rebuild it Before, we had we had the buildings, and we could have done something else, right? It's the broken window fallacy of economics. Henry Hazlitt talked about it. Like if somebody throws a rock through a window, the Keynesian says, well, that's going to stimulate the economy because now I have to buy a new window, and that's good for the window guy. Yeah, but if my window wasn't broken, I could have taken that money and bought a new suit of clothes. But now I can't buy the clothes because I had to replace my window. So now the tailor loses out. But you don't see the tailor's lost income. You just see the gain to the window repairman. So it's the seen versus the unseen. But at the end of the day, all I have is the same window I had before, and I don't have a new suit of clothes. So you're always worse off when something gets destroyed. And war is about destruction. And so it should be avoided at all costs. That's what's particularly problematic. There was a peaceful solution. Yes, with the Ukraine had to have ceded some territory to Russia. Yes, but so what? I mean, most of them are Russian anyway. In the territory that they want, they all speak Russian. You know, they identify more with the Russians than the Ukrainians anyway. What difference does it make to us where the Russian border ends and the Ukrainian border begins? Do we care? You know, but now, you know, look at all this money, look at all these people who have died. It's horrible.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how long these last. Will this be another Afghanistan where we're going to go 20 years? Or
this is how big the left was. I don't know if you saw this. My biggest tweet, although it's not called a tweet anymore, it's a post. But Zelensky spoke before a joint session of Congress. And this was the first via the internet. It had never happened before. It's the first time this had ever happened. So we're giving him this honor, right? And so he shows up to the camera wearing his T-shirt, right? And so I see that. I was like, gee, you know, he's talking a joint session of Congress, the United States. Can he, put on a suit and tie or at least, his dress uniform or something? I mean, a short sleeve T-shirt. So I tweet out, I said, doesn't the president of the Ukraine own a suit? Right? And that tweet, that tweet was like the most popular tweet that day. And it was all because of the whole left started, hammering me.
88,000 comments?
Yeah, it was crazy. It was crazy. I mean, way more comments. Look, only 7.3 thousand likes. But look at the impressions. It's like 20 million impressions. It could be the biggest tweet ever. And my count wasn't even, I didn't have 1 million followers like I did now. And it was like, they were saying, hey, he's in a battle. I mean, come on, he's in a war. No, he wasn't he was in a studio with professional lighting and makeup, right? And so he could have put on a long sleeve shirt. He could have put on a dress uniform, a jacket and tie, out of a little respect. Look, nobody has more contempt for Congress than I do. I've testified twice, and both times I wore a suit and tie, right? Because out of respect for the institutions, not the men and women who are currently there. I don't respect them at all, but I respect Congress. And so I'm going to show up dressed appropriately. And this guy is the head of a country. I don't care if he wears his T-shirt when he's out with his troops. But if you're going to address our Congress, show a little respect. That's all. And look, if he was actually under fire, if he was in a foxhole, like dodging missiles, okay, fine. Yeah, don't put on a suit. But if you're going to, have your beard trimmed, if you're going to have professional lighting and makeup and you're all set up, if you're going to do all that, then you might as well put on a suit, right? What the hell? But the left coalesced around this. Like, he became their hero, right? This Zelensky, you can't say anything bad against Zelensky. I mean, they crucified me. You should have seen all the articles that were written about me after. It was amazing. I've never got so much hate on one thing than that little tweet. Doesn't he have a suit? Yeah. That's all I said.
And I love it. That's actually a very fair question to ask because you're representing a president, a nation, a country.
But before the nation that you're begging for money. Yeah. You come in here, help me, give me money,